It looks like we're getting a balance patch after all, and I still have no idea why the devs wait until 3 days after the start of the new ranked season to update their game. And the worst thing about it is that this is a very light patch. You're going to look at these changes and go, wait a second, why didn't they just release this last week? Actually, a lot of this needed to happen last week. So it's good changes, but it's not a lot of changes, and that means there's no major season update. We're just kind of continuing on as it's been for the last couple of months with no major updates. Cool. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, share it with your friends, and comment your thoughts down below. I'm expecting more comments than shares, or just a lot of people having a lot of strong words about this one. So, Greedent is getting nerfed into a pulp, guys. This Pokemon is going to be unplayable. Hit point recovery has been reduced, the amount of recovery from the berries has been reduced, and then we got this weird thing, fixed a bug, where Belch could be used more frequently than expected. I'm pretty sure that was already dealt with, because the Greedent exploit, like the Unite Move exploit, it popped off for a bit, everyone tried to cover it up, people still exploited it, it kind of went away, so I'm guessing they, like, just stealth patched it or something, and now they're officially documenting it since we have a patch and some patch notes for it. Wait. To want isn't just like some kind of weird translation quirk, that's a synonym for covet. So that means Belch Covet was overperforming because of a bug. I don't, like, it says under certain conditions. How much was this being exploited? How frequent was this? How many games were being affected because Covet Belch was doing more damage than expected, or also like having less counterplay because the move was bugged? When I first saw it, it's like, oh, it's being used too fast. I guess they're just kind of like clarifying on what happened with the Unite move. No, it's not the Unite move. It's like the whole Blastoise thing, where Blastoise with the Rapid Spout was overperforming because you could auto attack inside of it, which was a bug. So for like the 5th time in Pokemon Unite, a bug is the reason why Pokemon is majorly overperforming. Now they also just like take out the rest of the kit, so I don't see how Greedent is playable after this patch, but I don't know. It's weird, that's what's going on. And then Stuffed Cheeks gets a shield nerf. Stuffed Cheeks was the worst moveset because you either throw berries into the ally Pokemon or you have to stand still for Belch, which makes it very easy to kite and deal with. That move was not performing, so alright, just make the Pokemon unplayable. I think like Defense Curl needed a nerf more than anything, but either way, cool. And with the nerf to the amount of berry healing, I'm guessing that means that like Greeden doesn't just get to run away forever and tank forever, but that's, again, that just shows the Pokemon's a waste of time. Just, it does nothing if it has Stuffed Cheeks, so ignore it, much like Slowbro, and then it loses the game. But people don't understand this. And then Defense Curl. The shield effect has become weaker. That just means we got a little bit less frustration going on with the Squovet. Seed Machine Gun increased the amount of damage to the opposing Pokemon. So this is the incentivization we've seen with a lot of other movesets. They keep buffing Wild Charge on the Zeraora. Now they're going to be buffing the Bullet Seed so that it isn't a 100% pick on the Belch. But on top of that, Belch has been nerfed. Increased the waiting time, so the cooldown has been increased, and the amount of damage done to the opponent's Pokemon has been reduced. So a damage nerf as well as a cooldown increase, and also just less healing and a weaker Pokemon overall, then fix a bug that caused unintended behavior when using Unite moves when using on the junk panel. So was this also something like people were resetting the cooldowns? So this is like Crustle and I think Machamp or Wigglytuff, where they were using the jump pad to like cancel and reset their Unite move and then like permanently Unite move or something. I don't remember. It was weird and I didn't hear anything about it for the Greedent. I don't recall anything like this happening in my games, but yeah, there we go. That was fixed. And overall, I have to say that Greedent is now unplayable. So in my released tier list, I gave Greedent D tier because I didn't really see a lot of hope for the Pokemon. Now I will admit, that was undervaluing it. I was going to put it in B tier. Like, if Greedent doesn't get any changes for the new Pokemon Unite patch, I'm going to put it B tier. Now, it's right back down to D tier. It has less healing, and with the amount of berries that Greedent is healing off of in, like, an exchange, or a covet, or a fight, or the early game or something, there's a lot of situations where Greedent squeaks away with almost no health, and then just, like, covet zooms away. So, that's not going to happen. You actually, like, can kill it. So Greedent is more vulnerable, which was really the only thing making the Pokemon viable, and then Belch gets absolutely destroyed, and even the early game. So now it's going to have slightly more vulnerability to where it gets punished a bit more, so it doesn't get as far ahead, and it's weaker regardless if it's ahead or not. And the reason why I don't consider Greedent to be that great of a Pokemon is because it only has a few pop-off moments inside the game. Like, people remember the one time they get melted by 3 Belches, but then they forget the 8 other times in the game where Greedent just kind of like spun around circles, missed Belches, and then like ran away. The thing about Greedent is it's like Slowbro. If you ignore it, you win the game. But one of the biggest problems with Pokemon Unite is that the player base is awful at the game. They overextend, they overchase, they get picked off, they die unnecessarily, they have no game sense. Just ignore Greedent. If Greedent tries to like zoom by you on a covet or do a backdoor for 40 points, let him do it. Zapdos is more important. You farming to catch up in levels or get ahead in levels and then win fights is more important. And then Greedent also has to be very precise about Unite move usage, so that also puts it in like some, like it can only fight at certain times. Yes, it's very successful with its Unite move, but it's also not uncounterable. Greedent, like using its Unite move on Zapdos and then just sitting there on Belches, you can still secure Zapdos away from it, or you can also just KO Greedent because it's sitting there belching, so you just crowd control it and then you blow it up. With the way that it gets its Unite move, it really only gets to use it for like second Dreadnought or something, or like a weird Rotom skirmish, and then it has to save it for Zapdos. Which means around the 3-minute mark, you can punish the Greedent team to kind of secure your tempo for Zapdos, or also just win that Dreadnought fight or something. Because, yeah, it does get really weird and inconsistent, and maybe it does get, like, 2 good Covet Belches in the fight, but that's kind of it. So when you look at its damage output, compared to, like, some other carries and other crazy Pokemon, it's too inconsistent for me to consider high tier. Like, B+ at best. That's what I would give it. But now, yeah, now it's got nothing. Now it's a complete toss of a Pokemon. So yeah, you ignore it, you let it waste time, you don't let it waste your time, and then you use that to get ahead, and then Greedent, it just comes down to weird Zapdos stuff, but that's just weird Zapdos stuff. That's not Greedent. But I do find Greedent frustrating, so I'm happy that it's getting ruined. Now, it should go without saying that frustrating doesn't always equal strong, but this is the Pokemon Unite community. I just think about Teemo. Teemo is super annoying to lane against, especially in the top lane where most of the bruisers are focused on auto attacks, and as a melee, you're just going to get like kited out and then he's going to run you down with poison and you might actually just give up a kill that it just happens from complete nonsense. But then Teemo doesn't really contribute anything to the team or the game. Now, Greedent does have contribution with its Unite move, but overall it's just kind of like a nonsense Pokemon, and really the biggest point of frustration is Covet, because that is so much unstoppability and that is way too much movement speed. And I find it appalling. Like, this is just one of the things which, like, how are the devs balancing their game this way when they allow Greedent to have that much unstoppability, but the first thing they do is nerf Machamp and then they don't bring it back into viability? Also, movement speed is the most valuable stat in MOBAs and ability-based games like this, and Greedent just gets an absurd amount of it while being unstoppable. There's no counterplay to it. Now, Covet as a move on its own isn't really that crazy. It's not like it just like Tokyo drifts on you and one-shots you on the Covet knockups, and the Belches are inconsistent with it, but that's not justification. That's just sloppy game design that doesn't really create any kind of engaging gameplay for any of the Pokemon involved. Playing Greedent isn't fun because you're all like slipping around and you have to like weave those Belches. There is a reward for skill cap there, but you can't bake that in with unstoppability, which is like the second best stat. If not, maybe unstoppability is like tied because of Pokemon Unite and how weird it is for the best stat. Like, unstoppable is insane, but then Machamp, whose whole kit is unstoppability, just isn't allowed to be as good as Greedent, a tank. I don't get it. And this is what I mean by the patch being very, very disappointing. Why didn't this happen last week? Nothing changes if this happens last week. If it turns out that you over-nerf Greedent, you just buff it later. And then there we go. Like, oh man, turns out Greedent wasn't that great to begin with, and now, you know, players have figured out how to play against it, and then we overshot the nerfs. Cool. Pokemon Unite's 3 months old. You can get away with that kind of stuff. But also, somehow they justify just nerfing Machamp immediately and then never bringing it back into the game. So, who even knows? Then Cramorant gets 3 nerfs and Lucario barely gets any kind of nerf. The game balance doesn't make sense, but at least, like, try to get some kind of player goodwill if they're complaining about Greedent so much, regardless if I disagree with it or not. You nerfed it last week, game's healthier for ranked season launch, more people are for the launch, like people just didn't care about season 2 because there wasn't a patch last week. So you would have more people starting and you'd have more people sticking, but now everyone's already done. Everyone's like, Season 2 is a wash. You didn't remove 5 stacking from solo queue, so the entire next 90 days are completely worthless. Then you wait too long to do the patch. I don't even care about the game anymore. That's what's happening here. So yeah, it's like, and again, then we get into the other changes, very small. Ninetales raises special attack. It doesn't matter how much special attack Ninetales gets, it's not going to change anything about it. Let's look at Snow Warning. Snow Warning is a 60% special attack scaling. So if Ninetales gets 50 special attack by level 9 or 10, alright, cool, you're doing 30 more damage. Every couple of seconds on your passive by level 9, 10, Pokemon have 5,000 health. So you're doing like less than 1% of their health is extra damage. Same thing on your auto attack. Your auto attack scaling is like 56% special attack. So it's like, alright, cool, we're doing 25 more damage per empowered auto attack. So inside the Aurora Veil, which means throughout the duration of Aurora Veil, what's that, like 200 more damage? Maybe it gets 10 auto attacks. I don't count. I don't count with Ninetales. I don't know how many you do exactly inside the Aurora Veil if you're like perfect auto attacking and what difference Muscle Band makes or anything like that. Let's say you get 10 auto attacks, 250 damage when Pokemon have 5,000 health. Yep, that's definitely going to save Ninetales. So bumping the special attack gives you 1 more auto attack worth of damage, and also the scaling on Dazzling Gleam is really low. Ninetales is like Pikachu, and that's a very low special attack scaling Pokemon, and that's also why it might be experiencing problems. I don't know what happened. Like, Ninetales was at one point the best character in the game, and then it just wasn't. I don't know where the Ninetales mains went. I don't know what happened. It doesn't seem like the meta shift would warrant that. I think it's still strong, maybe it's still sleeping, so this could just be quality of life that turns an A+ Pokemon into a better A+ Pokemon. I don't know, that's just weird. However, I completely disagree with this. Why are they buffing Blizzard? Never pick Blizzard. You should always be going Aurora Veil. Idiots are going to see this, and they're going to start trolling my games with Blizzard. They'll be like, yo, Ninetales got special attack. That doesn't matter because it's like 300 damage in a rotation. Maybe slightly more than that. Probably not, actually, because you're only getting that much damage because of Aurora Veil scaling on your empowered auto attacks. So if you go like Blizzard, I think has 1.5 scaling. So yeah, you're getting 100 extra damage on your Blizzard from the special attack, and also a little bit of a buff. But I mean, it's not enough damage. This doesn't change anything. So people are gonna be like, yo, Ninetales got a buff, it's good now, even though it's a strictly cosmetic buff. This isn't going to do anything for damage. And then they're going to see that Blizzard got changed, so they're picking Blizzard instead of Aurora Veil. So now Ninetales is actually going to perform worse, because the game doesn't make any sense, and I have no idea what the devs are up to. Gardevoir getting a buff on Psychic, sure. Sylveon fixed the bug where health recovery effect would not be activated even if you use move 1 after using Unite. I don't know what causes that bug, but I feel like there's been times where it's like I use my Unite move on Sylveon, and I just don't heal as much as I should or something. So yeah, this seems like a Sylveon buff. Like if this happens once every 4 or 5 games, then it ends up costing the game because of it, because Sylveon's just too weak, because it loses like the first fight with its first Unite move. It's not strong enough at Zapdos. That could actually be like significant for Sylveon overall if you're a main and you've put a lot of time in on it. I don't know, comment down below. What is your experience with this? Because it feels like I've had times I'm like, yo, I thought I'd actually heal through that, but I didn't. Where'd my healing go? It should be my Unite move. Fix the bug where lightning may not be activated when you quickly enter 10-man Volt and normal attack in order. So if you go Thunderbolt, Thunder, and then auto attack, your Thunder doesn't go off because of like buffering and cast time. I don't think that like affects anyone, because pretty much no one is picking Thunderbolt anymore, and everyone's already running Thunder. So I mean, I guess if this, like, if your Thunder gets canceled for weird reasons or doesn't feel like it's going off, maybe it would have gone off, and maybe that changes the game. So that happens now. Garchomp is apparently taking more damage from Wild Charge for some reason against Zeraora. You shouldn't be running Wild Charge or Volt Switch on Zeraora. That's 100% trolling. There's never a case for any of those moves, especially together. So you always want to go Spark. Discharge is just too good on Zeraora. And yeah, apparently Garchomp was getting nerfed by it. Now here's actually the biggest change. We have battle item changes. No held item changes. Where's the held item balance? What? Imagine if League of Legends just never adjusted their items and only summoner spells and champion stats. It makes no sense. So, Potion increases healing. X speed increases the movement speed. This is what X speed needs. This might make X speed viable. And I kind of hope it does, because I want XP to have more opportunities on certain Pokemon. I'm running Flash on Garchomp because XP does not give you enough speed. It's a very tiny, negligible speed boost, and the immunity to slow effects doesn't matter, because if they just flash away and then you still can't cover that distance because X speed is so weak, that's the thing. Are they flash and dash, or they just still kite you? Like, X speed still makes you kiteable, so there's really no point in running it. So if they actually make it to where this is a significant movement speed increase, then this is the pick on Garchomp over Flash, and also certain other Pokemon. I don't know about Machamp. I think Machamp might want X attack, but it also is really good with like the Flash submission. Like, Flash submission is just instant. You land on them, you yoink them. Can also set up like a lot of really cool stuff with Flash on Machamp. So maybe not X speed on Machamp, but maybe some other Pokemon. I think Garchomp is going to be the biggest Pokemon that benefits from this, because then they get to stick on Pokemon in fights and not get kited. And if it makes up for Flash, then that's pretty good. And then fixed a bug where the state could not be recovered even if it was used. Fix anything. I don't even care anymore at this point. If the devs don't care about the game, why should I care to try to figure this out? Oh, and this is full heal. That's what I thought. But once again, it's one of those patch notes that's just so baffling. I'm like, wait. So full heal wasn't full healing or wasn't working in certain circumstances? I thought that was happening, but I guess I just, like, used full heal late, or I didn't, like, do it properly. But no, like, even using it was not cleansing crowd control sometimes. Where's the English patch? We have an update about the Battle Pass, but there's no information about the upcoming patch. Why be late for no reason? Why not just do a simultaneous global announcement of what's coming to the game? If someone's up at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. Pacific time, they're going to see it and they're going to be cool with it. And if people don't miss it, if people miss it because they're asleep, then they wake up and they see it in the morning. It's not going to lose any impressions. People are going to find the content they're looking for. If anything, releasing it separate means you're getting less impressions on the English website, which could also be bad for like localization and stuff. The game decisions just make absolutely no sense. There is no attempt to try to connect the players and the audience to the game and get everyone to understand what's going on. And that even goes to like the patch notes themselves. There's no numbers. We don't know anything about the game. You have to use third-party websites and like data mining and rough calculations to figure out how Pokemon Unite works. Like, you can maybe get away with vague things like move adjusted, kind of like what we saw with the first couple of patches that was super memeable. You can get away with that in certain situations, but not when you're letting everything else in your game fall apart. Like, okay, cool, you want to obfuscate it because you don't want the game to be super competitive, but now it's clear that they do not care about competitive at all, and kind of removes a lot of the reason to play the game. You know, you want to keep running it back. You want to actually try to strive for something. There's nothing to achieve with Pokemon Unite, and especially when the game is just an awful... It's just getting worse with every update. So, hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.